Hey folks, Jeffrey Stagg, Master Sergeant, retired U.S. Air Force, combat engineer. Coming back because my battery died on the last video I just put together. It was a little over an hour, explaining the cases that we have before the City of Virginia Beach, the State of Virginia, and the Supreme Court, and the Federal Fourth Circuit Court, bringing up charges of RICO activity and corruption. Presented by ALDO DiBelardino for representing we the people. Aldo's been working, as I mentioned earlier, Aldo has been working hand in hand a lot lately and collaborated with John Darash of the National Liberty Alliance. And John Darash, as I said before, he wrote this common law handbook. Common law is constitutional law, not the maritime bullshit that we have going on in our court systems right now. I went through all of the filings that Aldo has made over the last several months at all these different levels, representing himself. He's not an attorney, but representing himself pro se, and basically explaining and laying out the reason why we have constitutional grand juries on the horizon ready to investigate corruption from elected officials all around us. I spent a lot of time reading a lot of those filings in my last video I just made. All I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you a chance to screenshot these websites where all of the court filings are, they're all connected and related and tied together in all of these websites. The Court of Public Awakening.org, ALDOforSheriff.org, Sheriff of Virginia Beach, because we have found that the last sheriff was appointed, was not elected as state code says, and was appointed outside of the law allowing that to happen. And we have just filed a petition to do that. So Aldo is on the ballot for sheriff. That's what that second website is. You can go there and see that all of these court filings are in there and they're waiting to be heard by the Virginia Supreme Court. Courtcomplaints.info is a website that we just created that allows everyone from around the country that has judicial complaints against judges or bar attorneys that have violated constitutional rights, the Fifth Amendment due process. And if you have legitimate complaints, that's where you post them, because they aren't doing it themselves. You're going to find that there's a lot of delays and a lot of omissions of people complaining, and the foxes are guarding the henhouse. Flashjury.org, go there too. That is a great way to reverse intimidate the court that intimidates us with their lawfare. Well, we can bring our legal lawfare into their courtrooms with wearing these lanyards, and carrying a notebook and a pen holds them to a little higher standard. They sit up straighter in their chairs when they realize that they're being watched. So screenshot these websites and go there to find the court cases that I mentioned in my last previous long video. Did some reading, but I left something out that was really important. It's kind of a tangent, but it's all related. This is very interesting. I don't know how many of you follow or know who S.G. Anon is. S.G.A.N.O.N. He has a podcast on Rumble, Q News Patriot, and S.G. Anon recently did a podcast and had mentioned this document that I have right here that you can screenshot. This is a document that was written in 2015, published in 2015, filed in 2015 to even says right here, all the state courts, United States congressmen, United States senators. This document was sent to, all the governors of all 50 states. All 3,143 county sheriffs received this document. Special agents, federal special agents in charge, U.S. Marshal, Joint Chiefs of Staff, state militias. And basically it's stating, it's a writ of quo warranto. SGN did a podcast about this recently, and this was written by and served by John Darash of the National Liberty Alliance. Basically, it states that our servants aren't being servants. They have done a whole long list of illegal things. They're denying justice. They're denying due process. And you have 7 days to respond, or else we just are going to stand up our own grand juries and start investigating. Well, that's kind of the gist of this filing, 13-page filing. And it just so happens that SG Anon had tied the clues together that when this was filed in May of 2015, the U.S. military had published the newly revised Law of War Manual June 12th of 2015. And 4 days later, Donald J. Trump walked down the escalator. So John Darash of the National Liberty Alliance drafts and sends this writ, a quo warranto, to every agency and every high elected official in the country, and they have to respond to it. And if they don't respond to it, it's RICO violation, which ties to treason. And did they respond? I don't know. I think the only ones that probably know are the military, whether these officials responded or not, after John Darash filed this in federal court and served everybody in the country. So SG Anon has found this document, and he has tied together the fact that he knows that the military has picked up the document and understands what's going on, and that this document was prepared for we the people, to help we the people, because we are being stomped on in our judiciary through the Bar Association and the 1871 Act of England and the corporation that we live in, not the representative republic that disappeared in 1871. So, fighting, my last video, I mentioned that John Darash, who wrote this document that SG Anon picked up on, that ties the fact that the military picked it up and is doing something with it. John Darash also wrote the demurrer response for ALDO in his case that is sitting before the Virginia Supreme Court on July 25th, 2024. So there's good reason for the U.S. military it's been proven that they have their eyes on John Darash and the National Liberty Alliance. And now John Darash with the National Liberty Alliance has a very, very strong tie and very eager, and is helping ALDO with his 3-level cases, with his open petition against RICO activity against elected officials, many of them. It wouldn't surprise me if the same military has an eye on ALDO's cases that we're involved in right now, that are before the Virginia Supreme Court on July 25th, 2024, and that have just been filed at the 4th Circuit Court in Richmond, Virginia for the Mid-Atlantic at the federal level, and just filed RICO violation charges against the sheriff of Virginia Beach and other state and local officials. Folks, if you follow these petitions and you replicate it in your local areas and other states, if you follow along these websites that I just posted and just try to educate yourself and learn what's going on maybe you can duplicate and replicate, add to what we're doing, and help move this fixing of the judiciary movement that we're in the middle of right now. You guys can make a big difference. Patriots out there everywhere. Use our case. Our cases. I gave you the websites. It's going to involve some digging and some homework. But I'm going to tell you guys something right now. In my honest opinion, this type of we the people action against our own judiciary, using our constitutionally and lawfully that we're doing, this is what our military has been looking for. And that it's shown in the countrywide petition that John Darash filed, that SG Anon reported about back in May of 2015. I believe that John's petition back in May of 2015 kicked off continuity of government and devolution activities. It probably was what kicked it off, because it would make sense. Everybody was served and nobody acted. Military is the only way. So way back then, I believe continuity of government was kicked off, according to what SG Anon is saying. I agree with it. So with all that said, and then all the work that started 4 years ago, and then the latest court filings that ALDO DiBelardino of Virginia Beach, running for sheriff, aldoforsheriff.org, right now, who's on the ballot. We need a special election now because the sheriff that's in there right now was not lawfully put in place. We need a special election. Everybody's got a duty right now that's in the local government. They better wise up and do the right thing. We need a new election. Well, this activity that we're doing right now in Virginia Beach is mirroring what John Darash did 9 years ago, that the military picked up on. And I believe the military is hopefully watching this. So in my honest opinion, what we're doing right now in Virginia with all those cases that I just gave you, this is what our military has been looking for. So get busy, Patriots, because this is the trigger.